Hi guys, hope wherever you are and whatever you've been doing, you've had a super sensational day. I think we'd all agree that children's mental health is very important, if not critical. It's normal for kids to be anxious from time to time and or have worries and concerns. Think back to when you were young. Do you recall being worried about trivial things in your childhood? I do. I remember being so worried about going from grade 2 to grade 3 purely because I loved my grade 2 teacher so much and was really unsure about my grade 3 teacher. And in hindsight, it was really silly, and it was only uncertainty of the unknown and pretty like trivial stuff looking back. But at the time, it didn't really feel like that. So, some children generally are more biologically sort of wired to worrying more than other children. And the reason for this is their level of environmental sensitivities. So what does that mean? Well, it's their home environment, it's their family unit, possibly the level of vulnerability or disadvantage in the family. So children who are prone to worry produce more cortisol than other hormones in response to their environmental situation. Because of this, parents, grandparents and carers, really, we need to be able to vary our strategies in how we can help them to better respond. So today, we are thrilled to be speaking with Clint Bauer, CEO of Primal Influence. He's an absolute legend. Now, Clint is a health and fitness coach and mentor who shares practical tips on how to simplify life and connect with our primal selves away from the use of modern technology and screen time. How you doing, Clint?
Very good, thank you.
Super excited to be chatting with you. And look, this is just a general sort of conversation. I don't know about you. Are you a fan of Tony Robbins at all?
Yeah, I don't mind his stuff. Yeah, I've read a few of his books and watched his films, so it was quite good.
Top bloke. And he speaks about, this is in relation to everything that you speak about in your article, but the 6 core human needs that form the basis of every emotion that we feel and relates to every decision we make. And they include certainty and uncertainty, significance, love and connection. And this ties in directly what you talk about in the article. So we would really, as just before we get into the 3 key questions, I'd love to gain an understanding from your perspective on why you think it's so important for children to manage the level of their worries and their fears.
I think it's important that, first of all, worry is normal. It's not something that as a parent you need to worry about that your child's worrying. Don't stress about that. But I think once it gets to a point where they are stressed and worried and anxious about everything, that's where it can start to cause a few issues. So once you see that happening, that's when something needs to step in and you need to be able to progress and help them through. So, yeah.
And these types of things, can that prevent children from actually making decisions and moving forward because they sort of sit behind their fear? Is that something that is quite common?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. So they're not going to take that next step or the next challenge. They're sort of fearful, so they're holding back and they hit that roadblock and they don't progress past that challenge. And to be honest, much like adults, still, we get to that point where we stop. So it's about being able to embrace it and take that next step forward and succeed. And it's a wonderful feeling once you move through it. You're like to the next one. It's like, oh, that was not as bad as I thought. What's next? So yeah, that's important for kids so they're not stunted in their development, I guess.
It's a really interesting point that you've just made, because I remember just going back to that whole moving from grade 2 to grade 3. I loved my grade 2 teacher, really wasn't sure about my grade 3. And I remember it thinking that level of fear and anxiety that was going through me at that time, like a hopscotch, like I was too scared to jump forward into the hopscotch. I remember, and still now, very later, but and that makes 100% sense that if a child, if you don't overcome that level of fear and worry or find a way to be able to work through it, that sort of continues on with children to their adulthood, as you said before, and that affects their whole lives. So this is something that we need to be able to at least find some strategies to help them move through that, I guess. So
that's right. Without the hard stuff, we don't grow. So we need the hard stuff. It is awful and painful, but you need the hard stuff to be able to take that next step.
100%. And before we get stuck into the questions, have you actually seen how in helping children sort of doing this and moving forward has helped the quality of their lives and of that of their families?
Yeah, most definitely. Like I see kids who, when they come to see me to start off, they have no physical abilities or they don't have the confidence to do anything. And, you know, a few sessions with me and you know, me challenging them, I challenge them, I guess, gently. we help them overcome it. And then it just becomes second nature. You know, it really opens them up to be able to do the things and they get the confidence, and soon they'll be jumping further and climbing higher. And that's, you just see it. They sort of,
Oh,
I guess they reflect and go, that was so simple. Why couldn't I do it before? So yeah, you see the physical change for sure, and mental change as well. So yeah.
and it's going to serve them right throughout their whole lives, because that's going to serve them
Mm.
challenge later on in life to be able to, whatever the challenge is in business, in their life, in their career, in anything, that is sensational. It's helping them sort of just take everything to that next stage. We published an
Mm.
article titled "Helping Children Overcome Worry." For someone who hasn't read the article, could you please give us a little bit of an overview on what it's about and what inspired you to write it?
It came about from just a session I had with a young boy, and he was autistic and Asperger's, and he was very much a worrywart. He sort of everything was, oh, what if this happens? What if I break my arm? And what if this happens? And I sort of, I didn't realize, but I naturally just gravitated towards solving the problems. Like, what if this happens? Well, it could happen, but I put it back into their court and asked them the questions to make them think about it. It's no real point me saying, oh, don't worry about it, it's not going to be not going to happen. But they need to realize it themselves. So by asking them the question, so you know, I mentioned in the article, yeah, it may happen. You may break your arm, but what can we do so it doesn't happen or makes it safer for you? And then, you know, hold my hand. Okay, if I hold your hand, you'll feel safer. So let me hold your hand and help you do it. Is there anything else that you're worrying about? And then, so it's just that step to eliminate the fear, right? This is my fear. Let's eliminate that one and then move to the next one. And yeah, sometimes it depends on the individual. You know, sometimes there's all sorts of fears, but sometimes there's just one. And you know, oh, I'm scared. Okay, that's great. It's good to be scared. Yeah, I still get scared when I'm doing things up high and that sort of stuff. That's normal. That increases your awareness and understanding of risk and all that sort of stuff. But how can we manage it and make it safer for you so it's not such a big thing? And you know, can you take one step off on the balance beam as opposed to walking across? Don't focus on the whole balance beam. Let's just focus on the one. And so it was that sort of idea that made me put it down. And I thought that was a great idea to share with parents who, you know, you see some parents who when the child, I guess, has a call or cry out like, oh, I'm scared. You know, parents often will say, oh, you'll be right, you'll be fine, don't worry about it. But it doesn't solve the problem for the kid. It sort of makes them freak out a bit sometimes. So that's why I wrote the blog, was so parents can have like almost like a mini script of, okay, how do I take the steps to solve each of their problems? And eventually you've solved all their problems, and they may give it a go or they may not, but they feel safe and comfortable to go, oh, okay, yep, tick, 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 all these problems are gone, I'm going to give it a go. So that's why I was inspired to write the blog.
Yeah, it's called sort of chunking down. That's when you really sort of break.
That's correct, NLP.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to these questions. Question number one. Now, what situations and environments do you find kids become worried in the most?
Well, in my line of work, you know, so the physical activities. So we're taking the kids outside, and it's not all children. I find it's usually the children who are the indoor children who have more fear. So they're not exposed to the elements of or the tree climbing and that risky play. So they're the ones that mostly will show the traits of worry, or also the children on the spectrum and that sort of stuff who are very critical thinkers. They're the main children that have fear, but also every child has experiences some fear, and it sort of comes out in different ways. So yeah, that's the main children.
And look, and like you're saying, it could be any sort of situation that can sort of, I guess, affect children. And even getting back to what we were saying before about children that are exposed to vulnerability and possibly disadvantage, it could be sort of very simple things that we wouldn't even necessarily associate with this, but they're going to sit in their subconscious mind and later on from moving forward in life. So these are the types of things, I think, like anything, like we always say, we have to be able to provide the optimum living environment for children to be able to pay that, the path for them moving forward in life. So these things, as parents, grandparents, and carers, all of these things we really need to be mindful of. But
it doesn't even have to be fear-based either. It can be how they may look in front of the other children if they don't succeed. So there's no fear around hurting themselves. It's more the fear around what will my friends think if I'm not very good at that. It's easy enough to go, I don't want to do it. So that's how they sort of, I don't want to do it.
Well, it's that thing in life, isn't it? Everything in life comes with one of two things, either from fear or from love. And if it's, so it's like switching the mindset to whatever the situation is to try and, because the thing from love always grows and expands, and everything from fear sort of contracts. I guess sort of just putting them into that place of positive, mindset, so that their mind networks can maybe grow. Hopefully, that's. Well, let's get.
That's the plan.
Yeah, question number 2. What are some ways children demonstrate fear?
I guess so. Yeah, they often will say they don't want to do it straight out. I don't want to do it. It's using, I guess, skipping for example. Boys especially. We do get some girls who don't like skipping. Then it's skipping. I don't want to do it. And then when you sort of probe it a little bit, you find that they don't have the confidence in their ability to actually skip. And again, it looks bad for what their friends think if they can't skip. That's right. Yeah, laugh. So that's one excuse. Well, that's probably the main excuse is, I just don't want to do it. So they're basically avoiding putting themselves in that situation.
Lead or that sort of stuff.
That's it. So they just, and again, a lot of adults do it. They don't feel comfortable doing it, or are scared or nervous. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. But you start probing, and it's like, well, how come? And you can get into that line of questioning, and that's the main one. Also, you get some kids who sort of, they do freeze up a little bit and get upset sometimes, but not too often. It's a fine line. You sort of, I like to push them, but not too far, and just taking them outside of their comfort zone. I think it's important to take them outside of their comfort zone and then bring them back in. So it's just that one step to getting outside, whether it's balancing on something or climbing one branch higher, or me not helping them later. Right, you got up, you got to get down. So it's up to them. So some kids freeze up and start to get upset and that sort of stuff. But I think the main way is just the old, I don't want to do it. So yeah.
And what about kids who potentially would be more attached to perfection per se? Their parents maybe like the idea of not wanting to make a mistake, which is everything you've just spoken about. But is that another element to it? Is that the same? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is. You get those, and again, it's very important. I always reassure the kids that I always make mistakes. I'm not very good, or I fall off, or I hurt myself, or I can't do it, and that's the important part of the progression. Is you're going to suck at something. And I see it a lot because I do a bit of work at the forest school. That they get frustrated because it's not happening straight away. It was like, you're going to suck at it for a while because it's just not straight away. So, that's does that answer the question?
I read this really good quote this morning, and it says everything is difficult until you know how to do it. I read it this morning, and I'm like, boom, which is true.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that's right. So,
All right, cool. So we've done question 2, haven't we? Yeah.
we did.
Question number 3. What are your thoughts on parents' worries and fears affecting our children?
That's a good question. I think it certainly does slow children down. I don't think it stops them, especially when they're with me. You know, the parents aren't looking. It's like, come on, let's have a go. You know, sort of. But yeah, the parents' worries and fears, and I think it can come back down to parents' inability to do the physical stuff. They're worried that, hey, I can't do this. You know, my child can't be able to do this, and that's where the parents really need to step out and go, I'm going to let them trust their instinct. And children aren't stupid. They know what they can and can't do. They're aware. They're tapped in. You just need to encourage and embrace it. And yeah, as speaking to the parents, they sometimes need to take the back seat and go, well, what they're doing does look dangerous, but they need to do it for their own confidence. And monkey bar, you know, and again, it's that risk assessment. If, as a parent, you're obviously not going to let your child tightrope walk across the Grand Canyon, you know, because that'd be silly. But if it's monkey bars and they may fall and hurt themselves, that's an acceptable risk. So in those instances, they need to step back. And again, children self-regulate, and they know if they're comfortable climbing trees and things like that. So yeah, it's hard for parents to go, I need to step back, but in some cases it is best to step back and let them work it out themselves, because they'll work it out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really quite interesting. In a lot of early childhood education centres and childcare centres and kindergarten and preschool, a lot of these places promote risky play, and you'll see in a lot of their the playgrounds, they'll have rocks and those types of things, and that's possibly a very good thing, maybe away from the parents as much as possible. But these types of things under supervision with professionals, that can encourage the kids to be able to, you know, jump up on that rock and then jump off, and those types of things from an early age. So it's something that definitely needs to be developed as early as possible to be able to enable them to be able to continually sort of get over that worry and that fear as we not just in their childhood, but this is something that's going to take them right through for the rest of their lives, you know. But yeah, this is a really, really interesting conversation, and you've given us some really insightful stuff and thought-provoking stuff tonight. So, Clint, if parents want to get in touch with you, whereabouts can they find you?
So we're all on all the socials. So the Facebook, facebook.com/Primal Influence Kids. We've also got our website. So the W's primalinfluence.com. And we're on Instagram as well, so Primal Influence Kids, and that's the main socials where we're on. And of course, you can email us at info@primalinfluence.com. Mouthful.
I just can't wait to catch up again soon. Thanks for everything you've shared with us tonight. And guys, if you want to get in touch, he's just giving you all the deets. So definitely get in touch with Amy and with Clint as soon as possible. They're based up in Queensland, is that right?
Yeah, Sunshine Coast.
Fantastic. I can't wait to speak again. Thanks so much for your time, and chat soon.
Thank you.
Bye.